Hi, I'm Rik Kamana. I'm a charity worker. Spent a lot of time at the Children's Hospital for the Starlight Foundation. I'm an arm wrestler, kind of traveled the world a fair bit doing arm wrestling. Been on a TV series, met Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just won the super heavyweight arm wrestling championship for Western Australia a couple of months ago. Also, right now I'm about to get into some bodybuilding. Going to be competing at the state titles in September, and hopefully I win that and I can go into the Worlds in Melbourne a month later. So yeah, I'm Rik Kamana, someone with a goal.
Honoured that you guys would have me because I'm very limited with my experience, and I know that you guys are just giving me a chance and just getting me to see on the international stage. So very thankful. Everybody here at Arm Wars is very nice.
Yes, thanks for being on the show.
No worries.
Man, I've heard a lot about you, and I actually want to give a shout out to the guy who connected us, Kane Franks, who's recommended that I get in touch with you because you are a person of deep passion and what you do. Yep. But I really just want to take that back to what started that passion from your upbringing and how that has carried through to where you are today.
Wow, so we're going to get straight to the childhood?
Straight to the childhood, man. If you could just paint us the picture of where that all started.
I think the biggest thing with me is I'm absolutely a dreamer. Raised single mum. Got a sister, and we kind of travelled around a fair bit when I was younger. I went to 11 different primary schools, a little bit unsettled, but yeah, a little bit later on, we did get settled, but early on, didn't have any friends, things like that, because we travelled so much. So I kind of always really got into movies, and I just remember from a young age, just watching, Rocky and all those sorts of things, even Elvis. I know, Elvis, right? That you could do anything, and I always believed that. So at a very young age, I was just a dreamer. Now, there were some things that did happen in my childhood that really, I think, moulded me to the person I am today. Like there's certain things, like for instance, why I do charity work. Yeah. When I was 9, very young, but I feel like at that age, you really get it, and things really affect you. There was something that happened in our family. We were a little bit settled. My mum was seeing a guy in a full-on relationship, getting married, all that sort of thing. And we had a sister coming. So we had a sister coming, and it was a big deal because me and mum and my sister had been travelling for a while, and we were getting settled, and we were going to have a family together. So it was a big moment for us. And I even remember talking about it at school that I've got a sister coming, so we found out. And yeah, unfortunately though, things didn't go too well. She had water on her lungs, and she didn't last. She didn't like it was. I think we had it for about 6 weeks. Complications. And yeah, it was. So we did get to touch her a few times because she was in the incubator. So we were all definitely very connected, and it was a very big moment. But I mean, I wasn't aware, but there was a moment where my mum, and we were actually in the hospital at the time, and my mum had just told me that a doctor had asked her, look, we don't have enough machines to go around, and Crystal's not going to make it. We need you to turn off the machine, and so someone else could have it. And I just remember my mum telling me, and we were in the hospital, and I remember seeing her energy and like how how the soul just felt like left her body, you know. And then we were like, you can have one more hold. Oh.
So this is
in a hospital. So
the decision had to be made.
yeah, right then and there.
Wow.
And this affected my family in a big way. Not just that, also my sister didn't happen to be with us. And she didn't get to hold Crystal for the last time. And it was kind of a big deal. And it affected my sister in a different way than it affected me, because I did actually get to hold her. And you know, so that was horrific. The fact of losing a sister, and also seeing my mum. You know, I love my mum. I always loved my mum. She always tried her best, did her best for us. It was tough. We had a tough childhood, but she always tried her best, you know. And then just to see her have to go through that, you know. So, yeah, and I remember too, it was quite horrific, as I had to tell the teacher, because the teacher, when I went back to school, asked me, you know, like, when's she coming home? And like after school, I had to stay back, and I said, could you please stop asking? And like me and her had this huge cry, and it was, so it was all like really traumatic at a young age. So where my passion comes from charity work is I don't have a choice. Like at a young age, this thing affected me so deeply that I want to do something for kids, for babies, and like anything I can do to put money back in so they could actually buy more equipment and things like that, so people like my mum don't have to go through it, you know. So charity work, why I do it, why it's a passion, is really from that. I mean,
so charity, that's your anchor.
That's my anchor. Like,
yeah.
I don't have a choice. Like, my whole life, if I could just do that, if I could just spend time with kids, and that would be happy. I'd be so happy about that, because that's my heart. That really is what means everything to me. Yeah, just to give back. So that was a big part of my childhood. I did have a little bit of a learning disorder, so I was dyslexic, and they were going to keep me down a grade. So I actually did go to like one of those, what do they call where you stay overnight?
A boarding
school, yeah. And that sort of affected me too.
Was it here in Perth? Or?
Yeah, it was here in Perth. My mum was from the country and had to come and drop me off, and it was not cool. But either way, so that was a bit unsettled there. But when I actually got to settle was in Thornley High School. So I spent most of my high school years in Thornley. And that is kind of where all the sports things happened for me. Yeah, definitely where it all happened. Because I was, oh, okay, wait. So to lead straight into why I'm so obsessed with training. Yep. My first day at high school, my sister dressed me up in surfer gear, because she was a surfer, right? And so I was in board shorts and like a surfy shirt. And the very first day, all the year 8s, 13-year-olds, all the boys and all the girls were doing phys ed. And so if you didn't have a spare shirt, you had to take your shirt off. So that's, yeah,
okay.
You know where this is going.
Okay.
So at 13 years of age, I'm running up one way with all the boys, and then we turn back around, come back, and I'm coming last, because I've never really wasn't at that stage done any sport, because I've been travelling so much. Yeah. And I wasn't settled and didn't play any sports, didn't have friends, you know, so I wouldn't say I was fat, but, you know, just a chubby
Solid.
kid. Yeah, chubby kid. And all the girls are coming the other way. Now, they didn't directly laugh all together at me, but a couple laughed. And before that, I was absolutely, my mum called me a dolphin, because whenever we went out, I'd just be out swimming. And literally, from that day, I didn't take my shirt off again for 20 years. Damn. Ever.
From 13?
From 13, I never took my shirt off for 20 years. And it is crazy, because I actually, from that point, I went into sports next level. As in, I would play football. I signed up to the football team, and also signed up to the basketball team. And that was me, like every single day. So it didn't take me long to actually get fit and to lose all that weight. But I was never like really into what girls, like going after girls or dating girls. I wasn't really into that at high school. But that's where all my weight loss stuff came from. And this is where my arm wrestling came in as well. At that same time, around about 13, I went and visited some of my relatives down in, I think it was Lehman, they were living. And yeah, a couple of my cousins, I was hanging out with them, and there was this guy, we're at this caravan, and he says, oh, arm wrestle, because I was big for my age. Okay. Like, I was the ruck, when I was 13, and I was the centre because I was 5'7" when I was 13, so I was like the second biggest kid, and I just stopped growing, as everyone can see. So anyway, I had to arm wrestle with this 18-year-old, and I was 13, and I beat him. And little did I know they were actually running a competition, and there was an arm wrestling table down on the beach. And my cousin, Malcolm was the one that got all carried away with it. He took me down the beach, and he started challenging people. So
just randoms.
Randoms, and I'm sitting on this thing arm wrestling people, and I just beat everybody. So then they go get the toughest kid in Lehman. So this man-child walks up, and I'm like, okay. Because I don't compete, I don't do anything. So I'm not scared, I'm just like, oh yeah, okay. Challenge. And then I beat this guy, right? And my cousins and everyone's screaming and carrying on, like, oh my God. And then this man wants to have a go, a 26-year-old.
Oh,
and I beat that dude, right? And so right then and there, my cousins just went on and were carrying on. And like,
flew the flag
walking
for you
around
then.
town for our family, and it was amazing. Like, and I was like, okay, cool, I must be good at this thing, you know? So yeah, that's kind of where arm wrestling started for me. And also, not a couple of months later, I actually went on a year 8 camp, and they were doing arm wrestling, and I beat everybody. And that's actually where I got my lifelong friends from. There was a couple of guys that were really good, and they didn't like that I beat them, and they actually turned into being my friends for the last 30 years. So arm wrestling brought me a lot. Wow. Yeah, so all my sports things pretty much came from that childhood point, the charity, the arm wrestling. I was good at all sports, and once I actually committed to it, but it took me a lot. I was not a natural. Like, we're talking 3-4 hours every night. As soon as, like, during lunchtime, I'd play football or basketball, and like, it took me a couple of years, and then I was good, and you know, could win first, the best, things like that. But I was never a natural. I had to always work hard, always. So that was always in me at a young age. Nothing's easy.
Yeah,
you just got to go at it. You just can't stop.
I find that through your stories, there's been an event that has caused you this inner, almost like a beast mode to go to the next level.
Yep.
Especially when you mentioned that the group of girls that laughed at you pretty much propelled you to actually, this is it, I'm going to change my life.
Yep.
And then from there, the arm wrestling, you just had to go.
Yep.
So how did you focus in on that? Like, how did you know, okay, this is my area, I'm going to take it to the next level?
Well, I didn't...
Did you realise at that age that this was your going to be your thing?
No. Because, randomly, but I'd always wanted to get married young.
Ah, okay.
I always wanted to have kids young, and have that whole, I don't know, again, because I watched movies, and I believed in fairy tales, you know? And I kind of like, if I could meet someone amazing, get married, have kids, and I never really thought athletically was my path at all. Like, the arm wrestling was cool, and it was cool that I was good at football and basketball and could do certain things that were cool, but you know, that's it. I'm not one of these guys that's gifted and could ever do anything. So I never even thought about it. So I literally, I was treading water for, not long really, I guess, because a couple of years, and then I got married and found my wife for 10 years, pretty quick. So I really didn't do much for a long time. So, because I did go on a bad path for a while in Campbell. I went and worked in the open cut mines there for a while. And at the time I was religious, but things had happened and I'd not done that, so I wanted to get away from it. And then, when you're in Campbell, Kalgoorlie, and working open cut mines, and people do what they do, and you're around
Environment's different.
Yeah, and so I did all the crazy stuff pretty quick, straight away. Got myself in a lot of trouble.
How old are you around this time?
I am 19. Well, no, I would be 17, just turned 18. Yeah, and that was definitely where I was the dumbest I've ever been. Because I wasn't a smoker, I wasn't a drinker, didn't get in trouble, I didn't hang around at the shops, I didn't do any of that sort of stuff. But I did find myself in jail. Because I just turned into, I would never look for it, at that time, I don't know, it was just boredom, it was just silly. So I did get a criminal record, and they put me, because it was an assault thing and it was a police officer and things like that, it's not cool. to give me a scare, they put me in maximum security in Kalgoorlie for a night, with some lifers, and that was the moment. That was the moment where I got put in maximum security, and first thing I thought about, I'm my mother's son. What am I doing here? Like, what am I doing here? Like, this is not me. I'm not stupid, because what I did was stupid. It was just, I'm not that guy. I don't want to be aggressive in life or anything like that. So that was pretty much, I mean, my mum had come because she was worried about me, and she begged me to come with her, and I was still fighting back a little bit, but then things just didn't get any better, and then eventually I was like, okay. So, and that's when I went to South Australia in Ceduna and stayed with my mum, and I pretty much, this is interesting, I remember trying to find religion again, and I remember asking, all that I would like is to meet a princess, a queen, you know, and I'd like to do charity work. I'd just like to work with kids if I could do that. And I remember asking, because I was like, I need to get my life back. And then, yeah, eventually I did. I was blessed to meet Carly, and yeah, it was really nice, you know. But and we did spend a lot of time together. But
so you achieved your goal, got married young.
Yeah, got married young.
That was your dream.
And very passionate, both of us. Both made each other the centre of the universe. But yeah, unfortunately, as we all know, as we get older, that's unhealthy, and you don't grow, and you need to grow as a person. And so it's no one's fault with what happened in our relationship, the way that things went. We just didn't have the tools and maturity enough to say, hey, you got to stop that, or I got to stop this. Like, neither one of us cheated. There was none of that sort of stuff that went on. It was just growing apart and just didn't like each other. And so, you know, after 10 years we were married, yeah, we separated. But we had an amazing daughter, Rik Kamana. She's my everything. So there's no regrets. I don't want to give back one day, but that's where I haven't done anything. So, like I said, the whole universe was us. I never spent a day away from her, one night away from her in 10 years. We never left Perth. We were complete homebodies. So I can't really tell you anything that happened in 10 years, because there is nothing that happened in 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah, so from the age of, when I was 30, my life began, as in we actually start doing things.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
So, because I left my wife, I felt like a loser. And because I left my daughter, and she was only a baby, I really felt like an absolute failure. Because, remember what I said at the start, all I wanted was to be married and live with. And I felt like I'm like my dad, so I just want to be better than my dad. Yep. Because my dad left, me and my mum were very young, my sister, and I failed. So I went back into the hard lifestyle. I wasn't there for my daughter, for my ex-wife to help out. Total loser. Just put myself in bad situations. So again, that was negative things that happened. But in these negative situations is when I did get some reality shock wake-ups. Like one of the major ones I was talking to you about earlier. So being separated, and you know, I always loved my daughter, wanted to see my daughter, but I also had another friend that was going through the same thing, but he had 2 kids, and he was on the drugs, and we could have lived together for a while, but he was going, he wasn't doing things, he wasn't handling things well, and he kind of did some real stupid things to see his kids, and to himself. He lost everything, and so I was there firsthand because we lived together. I couldn't really help him because, again, I didn't have the tools, and I wasn't definitely where my mindset is now, and I'd lived the life that I've lived in the last 5-6 years. So I ended up leaving because the girl that I'd seen had come back, and she's like, well, let's live together. And I was like, yes, definitely. And I moved out, and then 3 months later, he died of a drug overdose. And that one hit me pretty hard because, you know, I was there. And maybe if I'd stayed, I don't know.
What ifs, all these
what ifs.
Yeah.
But that's another lesson for me with depression, and thinking that you're alone, you know, like, and also I don't like it. I don't like that he did it. I don't like that he left his 2 kids. Like, I don't like it, and I don't, you know, I'm really negative on those type of things when someone does that, because it's the kids that are missing out, man. Like, you're so selfish. Like, it's the kids.
Yeah.
What the kids have got now, that's their life.
Yeah.
No dad, and the way that, you know, through drugs and that, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad, some of these. So I've seen all these different things in my life, of close friends, of what not to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so if you're frustrated and you can't see your kids, don't argue with your ex-wife. Don't call her names. Don't be mean to your kids. Don't not see your kids. You know, and also on the other side, where if you just give everything and don't do anything for yourself,
it's just as bad.
It's just as bad. So you've got to have a little bit of you, but you've got to do the good things, but also you've got to have a bit of you. So I've seen that, like, and I've felt it directly, that the good guy, you know, the real good guy ends up like last, you know, and then the other guy is obviously the same thing, going down that way. So that was something that happened to me that drives me with all the things that I start doing, because if I can't see my daughter, I'm out. I'm doing something. So that's really been my focus on. If I can't see my daughter, I'm getting depressed about it. Don't get aggro. Don't think negative thoughts. Work on yourself. Right. And just do whatever you can, just to be more, you know, and then make her proud of you. So
just find your happiness.
Yeah, find my happiness, and then she'll be proud of me when we're together, because I'll be happier.
So what is your happiness? What makes you happy?
I mean, honestly, sitting on the lounge with my daughter. Yeah, just
chilling and
I mean,
reflection on that. Yeah.
Oh man, like, it's the meaning of life is love, right? Nothing's better than my daughter right there. I'm just falling asleep. Like, I ask my daughter, I always fall asleep when we're together, because I'm in my bliss. I'm just so happy that she's with me and she's near, because I'm winning.
Well, it's fulfillment.
Yeah, I'm winning in life. Like, you know, like, that's it. I've won. But yeah, I'm so passionate. But so I convert that when she's not with me. I train flat out, just push myself, go hard, because it doesn't really bring me happiness, but I do like to achieve, and I do like to be a leader, especially for my family, just because of things that's happened to us in our past. I absolutely like to prove that doesn't matter, like, whatever happens around you. And like, some people think that because they're in a family and things happen, that they might be cursed and they can't achieve things. Well, that's just rubbish. Again, I mean, we talked about it before as well. Like, you're the only one that creates this in your mind, because it doesn't actually exist. None of that exists. It's only what you actually think and the thoughts that you have, and then what actions you take. So, you know, thinking just because this family member's done that, or that's done that, or I did something, went to jail, I'm a loser. No, that's not true. That's not the way it is. Like, you can be anything, anytime that you want, as long as you believe you can, and then you think positive, act positively, and then you've just got that consistency and just keep going. And you've got to follow your heart. You know, you've got to be passionate about it.
I think this message is so relevant, because mental health illness is not just amongst men, but amongst everyone. You know, and I know as guys and as men, we have that bravado that, you know, it doesn't affect us, but that positive mindset. You know, what do you do every day to keep your mind in a positive state?
Well, see, so Facebook. If I do meet people, sometimes I will go on about how social media, you know, is destructive, and how it's shaping Western culture, right? And it's just not cool. And we just lost the whole thing of calling each other on the phone and meeting up, going to the park or whatever, you know, sunset walks, whatever it is. Just the nice stuff, and basic stuff. We're not prejudging, and like, just because of certain photos you see, this is how they are. Like, so that's all rubbish. But what I kind of did when I first got on Facebook, I was following my heart, but I would put out what I want to hear. It was never for anybody else. It was always like, I'm having trouble with something today, and so my homework. So I always flicking through positive things. And that's my homework every day. I don't read positive books. I don't really watch a lot of videos. I literally just every day when I wake up, I'm scrolling through things and I go, oh, I felt something when I read that. And then I post it. Yeah. So it's not really, I mean, it's great when I get feedback and it's like, oh, wow, I needed to hear that. Like, oh, that's awesome. But because I'm not that crazy, super positive guy. Like, I'm not over the top. Yeah. Like, everything's wonderful, everything's perfect. No, it's not.
Keep it real.
I keep it real every day. Like, But I post these things because I need to hear them, but also again for my family members. Like I just want to just keep leading, because I just know they can do anything they want to do too. I mean, they've been supportive of me from the very start with everything that I've done. I mean, they've helped me out so much right at the start. Like really, when I needed a bit of help, they were right there for me. You know, my sister, my mum, just really there.
Just that support network.
Yeah, just support network. Even lending me money, like when there were certain situations, because I got offered certain things where I wasn't working, and it's like, but I've got to go because it's overseas. I don't have any money. I mean, I always pay people back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were always very supportive, and I just wanted to keep proving like it's all worth it. I'm going to keep doing things. I'm going to keep achieving. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's where that came from.
Oh, nice, nice. Just want to touch on your accomplishments thus far.
Yep.
I'm more so interested in your struggles, which we've heard some of it,
Yes,
but just more your accomplishments and your achievements thus far.
Yep.
And you know how you've been going with that.
I'd gone through a whole 6-month period where I was overweight, and I went crazy, and I lost 25 kilos in 6 months because I'd broken up with my girlfriend who was living with me, and I knew it was because of my self-esteem, and I loved her, but I couldn't be with her because of my self-esteem, and I didn't like who I was around her. So I'd just gotten an oil and gas job, and pretty much from the day that she moved out, I decided I'm never going to treat another girl like that again and be around my insecurities. Because I was overweight, teeth wasn't great, just lots of things about me. And I went crazy. I actually got a personal trainer, a friend of mine. I said, you don't have to pay for food or rent, you just live with me. And I moved to East Perth, and I lived above a gym, and they did group sessions. So, and I was working 2 and 2s, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And like I said, I was next level. So when I was home, I had my personal trainer, you know, tell me about my diet, and then I'd be downstairs doing all the group sessions that they did throughout the whole week. And also I'm not drinking, I'm not going out, I'm not meeting any girls, I'm not doing anything at all, because I'm not having this in my life anymore. I'm ending it, right? I'm not being that person. And then while I was away too, and this is where my next level training went, where I would get up at 4 in the morning, I would do an hour of intense cardio, just everything supersets around upstairs by myself. I'd eat by myself, and then I would put food away. So at lunchtime, I could quickly grab a banana, and then I would run for 20 minutes around the heli deck, and then straight after work again, while everyone else goes to dinner, I would do a 2-hour session, and then but I wasn't eating at that stage, so I would just go to the mess and get a drink or something, and that was my life for 6 months. I did not stop. It was a tough 6 months, as my daughter knows, because I did start to get picked on and bullied, because I lost so much weight so quickly, and I did look sick. Face got really drawn, so you know, I got bullied, and like I was a drug addict and just mean stuff, you know. Yeah. So it was a really tough time, but anyway, so I achieved this goal, and my confidence was up, and something happened where I put in my picture to Men's Health magazine, and I won this competition. Wow. And remember that 20 years of not taking my shirt off? This competition was a photo shoot. I won shoes, and I won a full-page ad on the Men's Health magazine. And they said, look, we want you to come and do down City Beach a photo shoot. That's a part of your prize. And okay, so that pushed me even more to get my body into good shape. And also I decided at that stage, because I had money, that I was going to go to LA and New York for about 2.5 months. So I got this dream body, right?
Shirt finally came off?
Shirt came off. I spent $22,000 on my teeth. So I had my teeth done perfectly, was tanning, had this body. At 33 it was, and then did the photo shoot. Basically got on the plane like the next day, went to, so I took the shirt off for the photo shoot. So that was the very first time in 20 years. Wow. So I was 33, so it was exactly 20 years that I ever took my shirt off.
And at this stage you were 100% confident?
I was 75 kilos.
It was just
skin and
ripped
bones.
it off.
Yeah, it was just like skin and bone. 75 kilos, did the photo shoot, got on the plane, was going to go live my childhood dreams, which is, I was watching Baywatch, so I was going to go down to Venice Beach. Also, there was an arm wrestling competition, and I'm going to enter that, and then meet some of these guys that I've seen on YouTube that were famous, and also I was going to walk on Venice Beach with my shirt off, right? So I did that one day, and the same day I ate a pizza, ate some junk food, and because I was still really disturbed about my weight, I checked my scales the next day, 2 kilos heavier. I didn't take my shirt off again for another 9 years.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So
Just because 2 kilos?
2 kilos.
Wow.
So I thought I was fat. I thought I was fat. 2 kilos from 75. And then I still went out, and I was confident though, and I was out and about doing all these things. And when I went to New York, when I was in LA, Whiskey A Go-Go, all the clubs and whatnot, and in New York, same sort of thing, just doing childish things. Yeah. You know, just ridiculous things, buying bottles, you know, my weight's sitting at things spending thousands of dollars, just
trying to catch up lost time.
Yeah, like just like being young and like, you know, whatever, and confident. And then like I went through lots of money. I had a platinum credit card at that time, and that was maxed. And the money that I'd had was gone. And I was on the plane coming back, and I realized that I'd spent all this time, spent all this money, and had this dream body, but I was the exact same person. Like, I was the exact same person that when I didn't work with my girlfriend, I'm still insecure. I'm still mentally the same guy. And like I said, wow.
But just broke.
It just broke.
Just broke now.
Just broke now.
Yeah.
But I gave so much of my life to this. I'm so lonely. Like, yeah. So I knew, coming back from New York, that I've got to do something else with my life, but I didn't know what. And at the time, I did own a Harley, a really nice Harley, and I was a stereotype, right? And I was I had friends at nightclubs, and you know, and I was this dude out and about, you know. But I knew that's not who I want to be.
Your true purpose.
Like, yeah, that's just not what it is. And then I get home, and I go on Facebook, and I see this post with this guy holding a $900,000 check, and his name is Rik Kamana, and it's a check that he's giving, where he's actually buying a machine because his son has brain cancer, and with kids, it's a 33% survival rate, which is the worst of all eye cancers. So there's not enough funding for it. And so I seen this, and it sparked me a little bit, like, oh wow. And like this guy went out and did something. And right then and there I messaged him, and I literally, whatever you're doing, I'm coming back to Perth. I want to do it with you. And what he did was an organisation called Telethon Adventurers. And that's where just a group of people that have never climbed mountains before or done any adventures get together, and then we fundraise and try and raise money for kids for cancer, cancer research. And yeah, so straight in with Rik Kamana, and yeah, the man just inspired me. And we did some fundraising, went to some auctions. And you know, the day came that we all went up and climbed a mountain. It was...
Which mountain is this?
So it was Mount Paradiso in Italy. It's the highest mountain in Italy, and Mont Blanc, which is the highest mountain in Switzerland. And so we had, I think it might have been 4 or 5 different teams. And yeah, I actually went with my roommate at the time, Craig York, amazing human being. Like, I just said to him, I want to do this. And he's like, well, I'll come with you. And I was like, he was awesome. And yeah, we went and did this mountain thing, which I've got to say, any person that is actually into mountain climbing and does it because they love it, is passionate, I think they're the most manliest, toughest human beings that ever walked the face of the earth.
It's another level of strength.
It is another level of commitment, because there is no reward, as far as I felt, with the climbs that I did. You know, you'd be up at 12 o'clock at night, then you start your walk, and these ascents will take 7-10 hours, and you could be walking in a blizzard, and you can't see anything, and all that you're doing is holding a rope, and you just got to keep putting one step in the other, and you're doing this for hours and hours and hours, and you absolutely lose sensation in all your body parts, and then you're going up steep steep angles. It's just incredible. Like, I remember we stopped for one time to get a drink of water. I took my hands off to have a drink, and it was about 30 below, eyelashes freezing over, you know, that type of thing. Tried to drink the water, but it was frozen. And we're like, oh, this is stupid. So we stopped, we put it back, started walking, and I remember really panicking because it felt like 3 or 4 hours and my hands didn't come back. And I started thinking about, you know, frostbite. And then we actually, amazingly, the guide, me and Craig, we made it to the summit first. And there was only one other team that made it. Everyone else couldn't, because it was horrible conditions. It was horrible.
Had to turn back.
Had to turn back, yeah. But we were first, and it was amazing. Now, so this is the thing that I say with mountain climbing, that there is no real reward because you're so fatigued. You've had no water, no food. I mean, it was horrible. You didn't see anything. You don't get to see scenery, anything like that. And then when we got to the top of this mountain, this is one of the most popular mountains in the world to climb. So there's people everywhere, which is just, you don't even expect it. But there's a lineup to get to the summit. And there's like, I think it's a Mother Teresa thing, and you can only fit like 2 people on there at one time. So we're all lining up to go up, and you've got people actually swearing, like hurry the F up, being very aggressive, like, you know, we're freezing, let's go, let's go. So there's no minute to just draw it in, and like, wow, what an accomplishment, like take photos, and like literally if someone's trying to take a photo, hurry up, you just hear the screams coming. Like you literally can take one photo, turn around and get off the thing. Yeah, mountains are tough.
Man,
yeah, and also on the way back down, I got altitude sickness, so it got really bad for me. So the whole head was swelling up, and like I told them when we got to one stop, and I said, we've got to keep going. Yeah. So we kept going. So yeah, that was the mountains, and I mean, that's the way that the mountains are. Like the next one was the same thing. Yeah. It was same sort of pain, same sort of thing. So what this taught me was I can do anything. And that's, and also the inspiration of Rick Parrish and what he does, that's, after that is when I came back and signed up to the hospital. Okay. Like I absolutely knew that if I could do that, if I could do something that is so painful and unrewarding because of, I want to give to charity, you know, I want to raise money for kids for cancer, that I could do anything. And that means I could go to the hospital, I can hang out with the kids, and I'll be cool, because if I can do that, I can do anything.
It's only giving you time, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much as soon as I got back, we raised $2 million, by the way. Yeah, and I mean, that's the whole thing. So that was amazing. But yeah, I'd signed up to Starlight, and I started, because I told them about climbing mountains, and they're like, oh, we'd like you to hang out with the adolescents, the teenagers, and maybe tell them about your journey, because, yeah, and yeah, so I was doing that. And then I happened to be in a gym, and I seen this arm wrestling poster. Now, the arm wrestling is kind of ridiculous how quickly it went for me. So I had rang the guy, his name was on the poster, and I asked, do you train people in arm wrestling? And he was like, no, I don't really do that. And I sort of told him about my passions. And you know, I'm a very passionate guy, and I'd love to really have a good go at it. And then he gave me the number to the Australian arm wrestling president, whose name was Neil Bell. And I contacted him. I told him I'm passionate and I'd like to give it a good crack. And anyway, we met in a bar. I'd rocked up in my Harley. I was in good shape at this time. Arm wrestled him. He was like, wow, you're a strong dude. And he's like, what do you do for a living? So he seen me with a Harley. He said I was in good shape. I was like, oh yeah, I do this and that. And I said, oh, okay. So how passionate are you really? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'll do whatever, like wherever. And they go, okay, do you want to go to Melbourne in a couple of weeks and compete at FedEx for Western Australia and just have a go? I'm like, yeah, no worries. Like, okay. I had money, and I was like, I'd like to have a go and see how good I am. So yeah, with the arm wrestling, so I got on the plane and I went to Melbourne. I was 90 kilos, supposed to compete in the 90 kilo class, but on the day, they said, oh, a super heavyweight didn't turn up. Do you mind pulling in the heavyweights? I'm like, of course, I don't care. I've got nothing to lose. I don't know what I'm doing. And anyway, they gave me the heavyweight champ straight off the bat, the Australian arm wrestling champion, Nick Teleakis. I remember it well because it was awesome, because I just remembered so excited, like how awesome, straight off the bat, my very first arm wrestle. I'm in Melbourne, I'm in the FedEx, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm just having a go, and I get the Australian heavyweight champion. And I was just smiling. I'm just so happy because I got nothing to lose. So anyway, hit him, boom, and it stopped. And he's like, you know, and you could sort of hear people going, like, what just happened there? And then he slipped out. And then we said again. And then he took me seriously. And he beat me, right? But then I beat 2 more super heavyweights straight after that, quick pins, bang, bang. And then sort of getting up to the finals, and I got this 120 kilo Kiwi guy, John, I think, I can't remember his full name, but big biceps. And I was like, oh, awesome Samoan. I think it's Samoan and Kiwi. And yeah, and we had a war, middle of the table, and it was a good photo on it, and actually went into Men's Fitness magazine. I did an article in Men's Fitness about that match and things that happened. And anyway, so I did fairly well. And then the Australian Arm Wrestling, when I got home, the Australian Arm Wrestling president rang me and said, everybody is over the moon at 90 kilo what you did. Would you consider going to Brazil to compete for Australia? I'm not joking. This is what happened. I arm wrestled once in Melbourne. I just started in the sport. I didn't know what a hook was. I didn't know what a top roll was. And they said, we don't have people that can afford to go, so we don't ever really send any representatives. Would you go? And I'm like, yep, I'm going to go. I'll have a go. So I went into intense training from what I've seen on YouTube, because no one was training. There was one arm wrestling table in West Australia. But I still really had no idea what I was doing. And yeah, so the time came. One of my favourite moments in sport was, because it's exactly like the Olympics, the World Championships. And, you know, like Australia got called out, and we're one of the first ones, so everyone cheers. And you come out with a sign, and I'm in my all-Australian clothes. And remember I said, as a teenager, sports wasn't a thing. I was never going to compete for my country. I was never going to be a sponsored athlete.
Just a pastime thing.
Yeah, it was just a pastime thing. And here I am, walking out for Australia, competing for my country in a sport that I've just started. It was just a moment, you know?
One level to the next,
Yeah, it was an absolute moment. And also, this is where sponsorship came too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Just before that, I was training like a madman in the gym, getting ready for it. And the owners of supplement marts, they'd see me, and they're like, oh, you know, you're pretty crazy. What are you training for? And I told them whatnot. And like I said, oh, you know, would you sponsor me? And they're like, yeah, they would. Yeah. And at this stage, I'd never done anything. I haven't won anything. I haven't, like, these guys are amazing. Supplement Mart, just amazing. Like, Muscle Works was the name of the company. They just backed me, man. And it was just because of my energy of just training so crazy, going so hard. So yeah, so that's how my first sponsorship deal came, and I was just so grateful and thankful that someone backed me just because I trained real hard. Yeah. But they had seen some posts about my doing charity work and climbing mountains. Yeah. So again, Facebook, if you put yourself out there and you're actually doing positive things, following your heart, everybody gets on board.
The universe aligns itself.
Yeah, the universe aligns itself. And that's why I know I've got a lot of things from that. I mean, I didn't know at the time that's what's going to happen. But looking back on it, that's why people give you a go, because they know you follow your heart.
Just touching on sponsorship, I know that there may be people in our audience who may be at that elite level, looking to get a bit of sponsorship. What recommendations would you say to them to go out there and approach these companies, or have them approach you?
Got to drop the ego. It's not about how much things you've won. It doesn't matter how good you are. You've literally got to drop your ego, and you've got to ask. Like, you've got to put yourself out there, you know, like, you absolutely have to put yourself out there, and you're going to get a lot of no's, but also, you know, you've got to be worth it. When you think about it, like when a brand, a gym or whatnot, they want you to support their name, to push their brand, then you've got to have it all. You've got to be a good person, but you've got to mean it too. Like, they see the fakeness. You can't, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what people do on Instagram, and it's all good, because I do it, I put out that positive vibe, but you've got to mean it. Because they know.
You'll be authentic with yourself.
Business owners know. Yeah. And you've got to push. Like, just keep pushing and just keep striving. And again, you don't have to be absolute elite. You don't have to win everything. Yeah. But your vibe, your energy, when you're out and about and when you're with people, everybody knows. Yeah. And then they absolutely want to be a part of it, and they want to help you on your journey. So it's always about giving back as well. Yeah. Like, I do Gold's, I'm now sponsor at Gold's Gym. And it's an amazing privilege. It kind of all started because I asked to train people here with arm wrestling. And I just told them a little bit about myself and a little bit about my past, and they liked it, and the arm wrestling training sessions went pretty good. And then also one of my friends came and stayed, and that went really good, and there was like 40 people at training. I'm going to ask them if they would sponsor me, just because.
And they saw your character, and they saw your heart, and
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
An match made.
Yeah, and for me, like I couldn't think of anything that means more in regards to a sponsorship deal, because it's not about money. It's like I grew up, when I was ever in a news agency, I'd go for the bodybuilding magazines. Man, I was all about Arnold and Sylvester. I was all about Gold's Gym. Like that, remember what I said, I went to LA and did all those superficial things. I was at Muscle Beach every morning. You know, I got a hotel room right near Muscle Beach. So that whole Arnold Schwarzenegger, Gold's Gym, is everything to me. The aura of it.
Yeah.
Like I remember when Gold's first started a few years back, I came and signed up and never visited. I just wanted to get a shirt, and I wanted to be a part of Gold's Gym, but I never actually used my membership because I lived too far away. But I wanted to be a part of it. So to actually get that, again, is just a reinforcement of you know, like if you work hard, if you just be authentic about what you are, and you got to be, you know, like I do put out some pretty heavy stuff sometimes, and sometimes I think about it, I think, oh, that's a bit much. And I'm like, oh man, people are going to be a bit freaked out about that one. But yeah, I mean,
that's who you are.
That's who I am, and yeah, and
Awesome.
then things work out for me.
Rick, just wrapping up.
Yeah.
What are some, obviously through your life and through your training, through your passion, what have been 3 life lessons that have been pivotal or inspirational, or that have projected you to where you are, and that you can pretty much instill? Well, let me ask you, change it this way. What were the 3 life lessons that you would instill into your daughter that you can be proud of looking back?
Well, follow your heart always. Like, no matter what you do, I mean, we're talking about it now, she's in year 9, going to year 10, has got to decide she's going to uni or whatnot. And I wanted to be happy. Like, that's all you need. Like, it's just to be happy when you wake up every day and have a smile because you're going to do what you love. So, and that goes with anything that you want to achieve in business, athletically, you know, in anything. If you find your passion, like what you love, God, it's easy. And like with number 2 would be consistency. And when you find that passion, you just got to be at it. And that means, you know, sacrificing, you know, friends, social things that you might hang out and doing, or even financial things as like getting a house or whatnot. There's certain things you've got to give up just to keep pushing to get this goal. And you will get it if you absolutely give up everything and go towards it.
Just focused on that one thing.
And it's happened to me. I mean, we haven't covered a lot of the things that have happened to me, but it all worked out because I gave everything. 3rd tip, I think with those 2 things, you've got to give back, right? Because it's all that whole love thing. You know, you've got to put back into the universe, and then you'll get it back. So, you know, follow your heart, and then just work your ass off.
Consistency.
And then you've got to give back. And then, so all those things working together, guaranteed to succeed. Like, whatever you want to do, you're going to succeed in anything, for sure. And that's what's worked for me, and there's a lot of sacrifice, but if you do all those things, and it comes from the heart, and it is about love,
it's all worth it.
yeah, it's all worth it.
Rick?
Yes.
Thanks
No
again for your
worries.
time.